but more importantly, I think, to try, with the help of our distinguished experts here, to try to make some sense of those events. The notion that the military is always subordinate to civilian leadership
is here actually with us today, so thanks to them for their contributions. We're also very honored today to welcome former Congressman Ed Whitfield. Congressman Whitfield had founded the caucus on U.S.-Turkey relations and Turkish Americans and served as its co-chair. Congressman Whitfield, thank you for your contributions and bilateral relationship. We're a 501c3 organization faltered in recent years, and there are individuals and groups that are advocating where we found the tragic events on July 15, when a faction from within the Turkish armed forces by members of this organization has been well documented over the years by will constructive dialogue between stakeholders in both countries. The relationship can indeed overcome the current challenges. It is our hope that in hearing from our speakers today, all of us will be able to gain access to a unique perspective on the most pressing issues facing Turkey and the U.S.
Even before making America my home, I studied American history and the wisdom of our founding fathers. President Andrew Jackson established diplomatic relations with the Ottoman Empire, started like 1831. I immigrated this country during the presidency of Ronald Reagan. In Turkey also showed that Turkish people trust in the process. The high election turnout was practically double the turnout rate in the American elections.
First, I would like to turn to Professor Wagner. From a security and intelligence point of view, how do you read the Gülen movement's actions in the U.S.? They are obviously regarded as terrorists in Turkey and many other countries. How does the U.S. think?
Can you hear? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. There is enormously little attention that's been given to the Gülen movement, either by the press in the United States, who seem to be occupied with all sorts of other things, and by the American, infrastructure, the law enforcement and diplomatic.
As they appear to be, this is not a group that has the United States in its best interests at all. And since the 20 years have passed since FETÖ, a positive element to American society, which I would argue is dangerously false. Now, let me just answer the second part of your question. I'll try to keep it brief. I started filming this movie about the Gülen movement, Killing Ed, in 2011. I was just finishing up another film. And I had been on a nonprofit board in my hometown of Austin, Texas, and I had first experienced members of the Gülen movement coming into Austin, becoming very friendly with our mayor and making demands on our political system within Austin. And I raised some concerns about that, and I found myself on the negative side of the Gülen movement. I was made sort of persona non grata within City Hall. And
every 2 weeks, he would go to the bank, withdraw cash, and take it to the school money treasurer, who, by the way, all the administrators were Turkish males and members of the movement, as my husband explained, because you were not hired on an H-1B visa unless you were a member of the movement. So once a month, the regional money collector, who works directly for Gülen, would come to the schools and pick up this money. I said, well, did you get that this is not legal? They're extorting money from you. They're holding your visa hostage. You don't have a choice. Either you give this money or they're going to take your visa. So I told my husband this is also money laundering, which is also illegal in the United States. And this is our money. We're United States citizens funding this movement. And I'm not okay with this. So my husband goes to the federal authorities. We are the ones that pulled the TUZAC. No one had ever had the TUZAC because they told the teachers about the TUZAC, and they told them, and the TUZAC, the way...
The problem with federal prosecutions, and you can sort of turn on the TV every day and get the news channel of your choice, the federal government tends to pick and choose what things that they will prosecute. Why are they, why is Paul Manafort, in solitary confinement on a 2015 tax charge and Crooked Hillary and all of her cronies, you know, skate on Title 18 violations. And you can go down the entire list of what the federal government picks and chooses what they intend to go after and enforce. And, you know, quite honestly, you know, you're one of the few people that's willing to bring these things forward, and the question then becomes, can you get the appropriate action?
The 2016 coup attempt in Turkey, what has changed since you shot this documentary? What should be done?
Well, I think one of the interesting things that's happened in the past in the United States and outside the United States that looked at the Gülen movement, some of these academics had been very favorable about the Gülen movement until the coup in 2016. And in March of this year, those documents were released to the public, and it's a wonderful compilation of who is a man that organized this event. And you can find, I think, any American citizen that wants to look at the other side of the allegations, that navel-gazing by the academics of why they didn't look at the Gülen back to Turkey has been requested numerous times by the to decide about the disposition of Fethullah Gülen. I think there's to be Gülen movement members. I think that in my best dreams. So those are the things I would do, but as a filmmaker, I've done everything I can do. I don't have the power to listen.
Many times, they have so many ancillary things going on, and they recognize that every single board member is a Turkish guy.
I believe, my honest opinion, that Fethullah Gülen has more power than President Trump. You could laugh all you want about it, but this is a serious situation. He controls South Korea. He controls North Korea. We have people from South Korea that goes up to the camp. There's a church that from South Korea. He tells them, he comes up there and he has people come from the churches and says nice things. What his main goal is to form one religion. He wants to do away with Christianity. He wants to do away with possibly even the Muslim religion. He wants to form one religion, and that is his goal. So, Mr. Wagner, what do you feel that what the future is? If President Trump can't get this man out, he will never leave the
Alaturkaonline.com, the first Turkish newspaper in the US.